Hey, it's Dan Jones, Carolina Real Estate Experts, and I want to say thank you for teaming up with Carolina Real Estate Experts to getting your property sold. And I want to go over just some of the few of the next steps and so a little bit of the paperwork you're going to see over the next couple of days in regards just to listing paperwork and just some frequently asked questions about the process. But two other things I want to introduce to you really quick is our CRE commitment and CRE Cares, our nonprofit. So CRE commitment is simply just our promise to you that we're going to deliver on a world-class experience to our systems, processes, and just really good people. And all we ask in return is if you know anyone looking to buy or sell real estate, between now and closing or just moving forward, that you don't keep us a secret. Referrals are the lifeline of our business, and we would highly appreciate any referrals. And the second part is probably the number one reason why people like to do business with our company is CRE Cares, our nonprofit, and our just dedication to impacting lives of young people and just families here in the area. And we always make a donation for every closing. Our attorneys help out, our lenders help out, and we do own a title company for people buying a house that we can supply, and all those profits and everything goes directly into our nonprofit. And just the goal coming up for 2024, I know we're a little bit out on that. Our goal and target is to generate $250,000 into the nonprofit in that single year to directly impact families and kids here locally. So we appreciate your support, and let's get after some of the frequently asked questions and what you're about ready to see. So one of the first documents we're going to send you is a sample of the offer to purchase. The offer to purchase is just simply saying the contract. Okay, so some of the things you're going to see in there, and I would review it, and some of the most important things that you want to review are, for example, the due diligence and earnest money. A lot of people know what that is now, but if you haven't bought or sold a house in a while, due diligence is simply money a buyer is going to give you to take your home off the market and to go under contract. They don't get those dollars back unless they purchase the house. Now, if they terminate, you still keep that money, but they can do all their inspections during that time period. They also give earnest money. Earnest money goes directly to the attorneys, and they hold that in their trust account. Now, if the buyer pulls out, let's say a day before closing, they would lose their earnest money. If they go over their due diligence period and then do not close because they can't get the loan, they get cold feet, you will keep both the due diligence money and both the earnest money. Okay. Another part that you really want to pay attention to is the section in regards to fixtures and things that need to stay in the house. We're going to point those out to you, but if there's any clarification needed, you can reach out to your agent, our transaction team, and we can get those clarified. One of the most common ones is just a TV. Let's take a TV mount. All right, TV mounts now are very inexpensive, but if you want to take your TV mount, we're going to need to patch the holes, make it nice. Otherwise, if we're going to leave it, we leave the bracket on the wall, and then obviously we need to take the brackets from the TV and put those back so the next, the buyers can put their TV on and have the mounts and so forth. In my opinion, it's easier to leave those sort of things. Mirrors for bathrooms as well, but there's just certain items like we just need to pay attention to, and if there's something you want to take, that's listed there, for example, we need to notate that in your listing agreement so we can get it in the MLS and make sure the world knows that you want to take the tank of gas in the back for the propane that does the fireplace because you've had it for 20 years. It doesn't matter, but we just need to know as well what you want to stay and what you don't need to stay. So pay attention for that. That's really important as well. So two of the next documents you're going to see is the residential property disclosures and your oil, mineral, and gas rights. So the oil, mineral, and gas rights are basically saying to your knowledge, you or the previous folks, like you don't have any knowledge of anybody selling the rights to your property to Exxon or BP so they could drill one day looking for oil. And your residential property disclosures is basically 4 pages, and it just asks you questions about your property. Okay, if you have any questions, we can do the best we can to help you, but we're not essentially allowed to fill that out for you without you directing us, okay, this is the information, let's put in here. But if you truly don't know the age of the roof, you bought the house 3 years ago, they thought the roof was 4 years old, so now it could be 7. You just put no representation because you truly don't know the age. All right, so if you need help on, what's no representation versus yes, no, we can do our best to help you with that. But those are the next 2 documents that you're going to see that we will need filled out in order to go live on the market. So 2 of the next documents you're going to see are the professional disclosure statement, and then also you're working with real estate agent. So working with real estate agent, it's a very simple document, but you need to understand who represents who. Now, in general, we do not practice dual agency where your listing agent can represent a buyer. We just, the buyer who's going to buy your house, there's a little bit of conflict there, and we just don't want to walk down that road. But that document's simply going to say, okay, this is the seller agent, this is the buyer's agent. Now we do ask you to give us designated agency. So if we have a buyer, within our organization who wants to buy your house, your listing agent represents you, and this other agent represents, the buyer. Fair enough. So we can bring buyers to your property as well. So the next bit is your listing agreement. So this portion, we're going to verify things in the tax records on your behalf, legal description, parcel ID, and then if there's anything like we talked about earlier that you saw in the offer to purchase, in your listing agreement, it's going to mirror a lot of the same language to say, like, if there's any of these things that are exceptions that you're going to take with you, please note here. That's where we need to communicate to make sure if there's something that you want to take with you that's listed there, we get it properly notated on your behalf. So that goes with it. Also, there's going to be information just in general about your loan. If you're in bankruptcy, we just need to be as truthful as possible with any and all information. And if you have any questions with any of that, just reach out to us. Most of it's pretty straightforward, but if you do have any questions, let us know, but that'll be sent over to you via DocuSign. So a few other things for you as we keep the education process going. So in general, we can do our Coming Soon program. Coming Soon, the max that we can do is 21 days. It's just an awesome way to get your house out to the world. We can see what sort of interest we have. You'll start seeing people drive by your house. We can also do an open house if that's something that you would like to have happen. Depending on the neighborhood, depending on the price range, we'll help you determine if that's something you would like to do. But in general, we will order pictures. Depending when your Coming Soon period is or how much you need to do before you're feel comfortable ready listing pictures. Pictures in general are usually 2 to 3 day turnaround time from the time they come out, shoot the pictures, edit everything, and then get them back over to us to upload for the MLS. Our transaction team will also coordinate with our field coordinators with getting out for potential drone pictures of the neighborhood depending on your neighborhood. Also for a Matterport, the 3D imaging walking tour, if that's something that you decided to do with your listing agent as part of the process. So they'll reach out for those, to kind of keep the process going. And once we go live, this is a big question that we get, are showings. So we can limit the amount of time, we have for showings. We can make things appointment required. So, they have to give us at least 3, 4, 5 day, not day, but hour notice or a day or two notice beforehand. Then we have to approve it. So it's an appointment required type deal. We can limit to 45-minute showings. There's several things we can do, but if you work from home or you have kids in the evenings, 2, 3, 4-year-olds, we get it, we understand. There is an app that we'll show you and share with you, to approve things. So you have, login information and see who, has come to the house, etc. But that process is very easy, but that's one of our commonly asked questions as well. So now once we go under contract, a few things are going to happen. The buyer will do inspections. You will receive a due diligence check. What we need you to do is when you receive it, text the picture to our transaction coordination team, your agent as well, that's fine, but cash the check. Please don't hold on to it. We need you to cash the check. As for inspections, in general, we always like to tell our sellers, it's preferred that you're not in the house during that time, because sometimes a buyer will come in and it can be awkward, but you have every right to stay in your house as well. Just know it can be a little bit awkward sometimes when buyers coming in there, want to show the in-laws or their brother, or, their father or something. Might be a good chance to meet them as well, but it could get uncomfortable. So just FYI, but at the end of the day, it's your property. You can stay there if you would like, but they will be ordering inspections. If they do a radon inspection, for example, the inspector will need to come back, and I believe it's 48 hours to pick up the radon machine. So they're usually between 2 to 3 days come in for the testing. If there's a septic inspection, they're probably going to have to dig a hole somewhere in the yard, to get the lid to be able to go in and, potentially pump or whatever might happen. But the most important thing is due diligence. When you get the check, please cash it and let us know. So let's recap a few of the things we talked about. So your paperwork is going to be coming from our transaction coordination team. We need all that filled out before going live on the market, including the residential property disclosures and your oil, mineral, and gas rights. Pictures are a 2 to 3 day turnaround time. Drone Matterport, our team's going to reach out to you for that. Once we go live, Your agent will be helping you negotiate offers and kind of navigate through, some of the showings and feedback, things along those lines. And then once you go under contract, our transaction coordination team will take you from close, from any sort of inspection, repairs, request that the buyer might make for us, to help you with in regards to repairs on the house. And our transaction coordination team will help you through that process to get you to the close table. Now, a few final things. As we get closer to close day, we will be sending you seller paperwork directly from the attorney. Please send it directly back to them. We don't need your social security number flying around in our office, but they will need that information, and they'll get that over to you. We'll help to get those documents over to you, but please get those back to the closing attorney. When it comes to closing, what we're seeing, most buyers are closing on time these days, but we want to be a little bit flexible in regards to the utilities. So if you call, we're supposed to close on the 15th of the month. Duke Power is set, and Charlotte City Water is set to turn off on the 15th, and we can't close until the 17th because the buyer's lender needed one more document. They got it. Now we can close 2 days later. Please be flexible. Just in general, when it comes to moving the utilities back for a day or two, right? And if we're closing on another property, we'll have to communicate extremely well with the other parties, but just be very flexible. The buyers will be doing a walkthrough before closing. That's simply just coming through to make sure there's no new holes in the wall, there's no leaks in the roof, and just make sure the property was in the condition as when they saw it. We will need to do a minimum kind of light cleaning, but leave the place decent for the next buyer. Some people go overboard. I wouldn't go overboard, but it just needs to look decent, and presentable, so folks aren't walking into, a bomb of a mess. But in general, our folks, usually don't do that. But when it comes to keys, we'll coordinate with the other agent on the keys and get those to the attorney's office. And once everything's recorded, we'll release the keys and get you down the road. Finally, when you see your closing disclosure and kind of see your net, a few things you're going to see on there. So you probably will have, depending on the time of year, you could be paying your tax bill in advance. If you've already paid it after the tax bill is out, you could be getting a credit for the rest of the year. But be on the lookout for taxes. If you're on auto draft for, let's say, your HOA, and that hasn't been paid yet until close date, you might see that charge. If you've overpaid from the date of closing, you might see a credit. You will see attorney costs. Those are anywhere from $300 to $350 to get everything ready for closing on your behalf. Sometimes HOAs will have a transfer fee. We've seen those go from anywhere from $95 to $995, but that is a fee you will need to pay at closing. You'll have a marketing fee due to Carolina real estate experts, potentially a home warranty. If we bought a home warranty for a buyer, that could be on our side of the closing statement. And then finally, your excise tax. In general, it's $5 for every 1,000. So if you have per $100,000 of your closing, you're looking roughly around $500, and that goes directly to state tax, and everyone pays that. But in general, those are the items you're looking at on your closing cost. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Education is really important to our team. And in general, if you have any questions, let us know. When you're filling out the property disclosures, if there's special covenants and restrictions that we might need to help you get, or some information from the HOA, or some assessments that might be coming from the city for some street lighting, just let us know. We can help you through that process and get all the information documented. And like I said, thank you for helping our CRE Cares. And our CRE commitment is we are going to deliver on a world-class experience, and all we ask from you guys is just, if you know anyone looking to buy or sell real estate between now and closing, or even after, keep this in mind for that. That's the lifeline of our business. And thank you for choosing our team to get your house sold and trusting us, the overall process. And we look forward to meeting you at the close table. Thank you, and talk to you soon.